90-day fiancé diva Angela Deem is full of venom after a humiliating breakup with Michael Al-Sami, and she's got an axe to grind. Never a shrinking violet, Angie is really losing it now. There's something about Michael that Angela can't resist, and now that he's gone, seemingly for good, she's tapping into so much anger and sadness. Right now, Angela's coming to terms with a romantic failure that is, for her, truly a worst-case scenario. That's why the things she's doing and saying are so shocking. Believing in Michael for too long set the stage for what's happening now. A clean break years ago, when the red flags started waving in the breeze, would have been for the best. Michael fled in February 2024, claiming he felt unsafe. This could well be true, but the young man was obviously using her. He clearly never planned to stay with her. At the 90-day fiancé, happily ever after? Tell-all, Angela shared her admiration for Gino Palazzolo, letting the world know that he was at her place. The mature woman seemed to have her eye on Jasmine Pineda's hat-loving ex, Gino, who is no stranger to drama himself. While with Jasmine, Gino couldn't find much sexual energy. She was willing to try almost anything to get a rise out of Gino, including a procedure that would tighten up her private parts. However, Jasmine had her flaws too. She was a vain and melodramatic clout chaser who always saw dollar signs. Is this the type of man that Angela wants? Instead of her typical Nigerian prince, and she always suspected that Michael was a scammer, she'd get a weak man with a lackluster libido. That's not enough to satisfy the juicy Georgia peach that is Mima. The hot-blooded Angela should find a man who can meet her halfway. As long as she keeps setting her sights on these sketchy guys, she'll always feel shortchanged. Possibly, Angela was trying to make her famous ex jealous, but really, that's not going to happen. When Angela so transparently tries to manipulate the narrative and get a reaction from her ex, she shows the world that she can't move on. The opposite of love is indifference, not hate. She's not there yet. When it comes to Michael, maybe she never will be. Just because Angie's heartbroken doesn't mean that she's going to sit around crying. She's still making the scene, even if the scene is a bit dated. Angela arrived early for a Vanilla Ice concert, itching to be in the front row for what promised to be a high-energy event. It could be argued that no one really cares about the former rap sensation these days, but at least Angela does. Vanilla Ice, born Robert Matthew Von Winkle, hails from Texas and set the world on fire with his infectious brag track, Ice Ice Baby. Here is some of his poetry. She responds to this kind of bluster. Angela's got an ego herself. However, when she wears scanty attire to events like these, or poses in provocative clothes at TikTok and Instagram, she seems a bit desperate. If Angela went for a sophisticated make-under, she'd show Michael that she's a whole new woman. No one wants Angela in a Hillary Clinton pantsuit, but maybe toning it down would help people to see other facets of her personality, beyond the usual in-your-face stuff. Angela, who could possibly be more mature at the age of 58, just can't handle it when people like Michael. In her opinion, anyone who supports her wayward ex is praising a real dirtbag who let her down. For that reason, they should be ashamed. Angie unloaded on Michael's devotees, calling them, collectively, Team Scammer. Afterward, seemingly awash with regrets, Angela deleted that missive from Instagram, but the damage was done. Everyone could see that she was roiling inside. There is so much that Angela can do, aside from monitoring Michael's fans and calling them out. What kind of life is that? Of course, no one's expecting a woman like Angela to shun the spotlight. Still, she could try to stop reading everything that fans say about her failed relationship. A little break would be good for her. She's a fiery Sagittarius woman, and when she reads this stuff, her temper just flares. Angela made Michael try some hog during a dinner out, and he didn't seem to savor his meal, as per the Entertainment Tonight at Facebook clip shown above. However, that wasn't the worst thing that happened. Angela thought Michael spit after sampling the dish, and this really triggered her. she spat right back. When Angela acts this way, it's time to duck and cover. Yes, the spitting was rude and boorish, but really, she's capable of so much worse. Angela didn't weaponize the hog that Michael was eating, but she once weaponized a delicious strawberry shortcake, shoving it into her cheating, lying, and scamming partner Michael's face. That was so wrong. There's really no way to justify this type of violence, even if it's sugary sweet. Angela goes berserk because Michael doesn't understand her. He is oblivious. He sees an angry older woman picking him apart. He never saw the hopeless romantic in her. Michael keeps disappointing her again and again, and she forgives him. Then he finally leaves for good. What kind of love story is that? Angela didn't get her fairy tale. With a gentler, more sincere man, she'd be a completely different woman. So both sides deserve blame, but Angie's ultimately responsible for her own behavior. This gambit isn't exactly unheard of in the 90DF franchise. American men and women who appear on the OG show and spin-offs tend to lord it over their partners from poorer countries. They seemingly prefer them to be dependent, but also look down on them for not hailing from the US of A. This type of power imbalance and arrogance does not bode well. Michael opened up about their doomed romance in the clip above. In fact, the lack of financial equality is the underlying reason why so many 90DF relationships bite the dust. In Angela's case, after Michael left her, she developed a taste for revenge. Like many thwarted 90-day fiancé lovers, she decided to redress the balance by getting her ex deported. Is this a step too far? Is it beyond the conventional warfare that happens between exes during a messy and tiresome breakup? Maybe so. It's the romantic equivalent of going from slings and arrows to nukes. Trying to get someone kicked out of the US so they lose their shot at the American dream is really the epitome of bitterness. Usually, it doesn't work. Chantal Everett tried this with Pedro Jimeno, but he's still grinning in every Instagram post, safe and sound in sunny Georgia. He's the proverbial thorn in Chantal's side. Michael will be the thorn in Angela's side, whether he's frolicking on the 4th of July with a new family or trying to scam other women via Michael's gigolo-esque Paradise Men Facebook group. Angela is in for it. Every single thing she ever did wrong with him, she will be paid back for. One smarmy USA-themed IG post at a time. He'll taunt her by posing with women. He'll rub his happiness in her face. He'll show off his cool American possessions. This is 100% guaranteed. Women, and men too, should coolly appraise the odds before embarking on these relationships. If there are red flags, such as big age gaps and hustling for cash, they should not proceed. The problem is that no one ever listens to the calm voice of reason inside. That quiet and primal voice that tells a person to run for their life is just drowned out by other things. This is why international romance is often a train wreck in the making. When Angie decided to hire a gumshoe, it was straight out of bad film noir. Her shadowy detective unearthed a treasure trove of data, all of which confirmed the painfully obvious. Yes, Michael really was a shady con artist who wanted to get with other women. In fact, he did more than that. Where Angela is concerned, Michael is a big-time fraud. He's the Nigerian prince who turned into a frog. He's the scammer who targeted her on Facebook to take her for a ride. The only real value in Angela hiring the professional was to get closure. When people know the truth, they begin to accept it, no matter what it is. Then they can heal. So while Angela may have erred by crossing this line, it's probably best that she has this information. When these types of facts are right in front of a person, it can change their perceptions and wake them up. Michael wore a God Got Me t-shirt in his GoFundMe photo, posing as a devout and wronged ex. Yes, Angela's abusive, and there's no excuse for that, but he is a cheater and liar. No one should forget that. Nonetheless, because Angie's gone too far way too many times, Michael's GoFundMe is actually quite successful. He wants cash to cover legal costs associated with fighting Angela in court. She filed for an annulment, probably with the goal of getting him deported in mind. To date, Michael has gotten over $42K in donations. A lot of GoFundMe efforts tend to fail, but this one is actually thriving. The fact that fans are doling out cash to help Michael must really inflame Angela. It must push her right over the edge. Now, she has to face this man as an ex rather than a love interest who can be pushed around. The whole dynamic has shifted and Angela is not in control. That's why she's putting down his money-making venture, as per Thethings. Angela's TikTok rant, as seen above, was extensive. It was, quite frankly, comedic, and yet it was sad. Angela took to Instagram, letting the bitterness really flood her and consume her. She didn't hold back. The heartbroken and humiliated celebrity Angela appeared very stressed, probably because the fan base was helping her true love turned enemy. The Mima said, "Oh, it stings. Life is so tough for Angela right now. Her best defense is humor, not violence. Yes, the situation sucks, but it's not life or death, is it? Life goes on. There are worse problems. Some people don't have enough to eat. They don't have homes. Some people are dying of cancer. Things need to be put into perspective and life must be treasured even when it's not perfect. Every day can have bright moments. Michael wasn't good for Angela, and letting him go was for the best. His exit is a gift that she will eventually cherish. It just seems like a bad thing right now. Most breakups are private, but with this one, the dirty laundry is out there for everyone to see. When Angie decided to become a reality TV star, she basically forfeited the right to privacy. So when people diss her for hitting Michael, attacking his car, and shoving cakes into his face, she has to say, "Yes, I did that. It was wrong. This is so hard for Angela." In her mind, she had every right. Angela carries so much rage in her heart. She can be triggered, becoming a fearsome Godzilla-like creature who longs to raze the landscape. Picture the Incredible Hulk in full flower to get the general idea. Remember when Homer Simpson turned into the Hulk? He said, "That's Angela. Her out-of-control rage is the worst thing about her. It's the twisted remains of a romantic dream gone horribly awry." Angela needs to confront her anger and find peaceful outlets. It is time to grow up. Angela is turning into a resentful social media stalker. This bizarre phenomenon is sparked by a grudge. Resentful stalkers feel entitled to harass their victims. They are all about unwanted contact. They are omnipresent, seeping into every aspect of their victims' lives. When a resentful stalker begins to adopt such a creepy lifestyle, they feel justified, but stalking is illegal for a reason. Stalking victims suffer. They live in a strange bubble where they are monitored like lab rats. They learn to adapt to their circumstances, but there is always trauma. The feeling of being watched or listened to is unsettling. It's not normal life, nor should it be. Angela is constantly up on what her ex is doing. She may try to reach out when Michael has zero interest in conferring with her. To him, Angela is a nuisance. He wants freedom. She should give it to him. Stalking doesn't make a stalker happy. It's a sick hobby that takes over their life. Unfortunately, many resentful stalkers persist for years. They just don't stop. This doesn't make Angela a bad person. She loved him and misses him. That's very human. However, it's so awful for her. So much of her anger, social media stalking, and more may be driven by this. Under the simmering rage that threatens to erupt like a volcano, there is an ocean of tears. However, Michael is akin to a poisonous snake. When she gets close, she is likely to be bitten. She cannot keep trying to reconcile. This pattern needs to stop forever. Also, he needs to be free of her rants, violence, and more. These two need to stay separated. They are not a good match. Pisses man Michael probably wants a gentler, more compassionate mate. Pisses natives need careful handling. They are sensitive people. Angela, a fire sign, can't provide this kind of intuitive understanding. They will always be at odds. However, 90-Day Fiancé star Angela has something that Michael will never have, the kind of raw charisma that electrifies. It's her talent. It's Angela's superpower, and she needs to use it now, more than ever, to get through this dark phase of her life.